giggling at?
Nothing. No, it's got a funny message. Well, it wasn't a funny message. It was a genuine question that I tried to do a smart ass response to, and it made me laugh. So
Well, it's a funny joke. I said to my boss the other day, he booked in for his COVID vaccine, and I said to him, "Oh, which one are you having?" And he went, "My second." It's like, oh no.
Fuck. Maybe Nick.
Too sharp.
Wow, happy Wednesday,
everyone. Welcome to Wednesday.
Yeah, boys. Beautiful. So you've had a nice middle of the week, mate, is it?
Hi, James. James, I will be in touch with you about something.
Oh, secrets.
Yeah.
Secrets on a Wednesday.
Yeah, middle of the week.
Middle of the week secrets. Middle of the week rendezvous. Yeah.
Oh, how are we doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Kit's prepped for the weekend, hopefully. I'm in an hour about weather conditions. So
yes, because you have an event. What's your event?
Going to Blackrock 2 at Imperium, SEO MilSim, Mr. Little, one of his events. So it's my first one, actually. So I'm looking forward to that. Me and Mr. Kettles from our team and Mr. Rapson from Reaper 1, who's we're going to have a bit of a threesome, along with some other gentlemen that I've not played with before, but all seem quite pleasant from our little Facebook group that we've got going. So I'm looking forward to meeting them guys. So a bit of the same setup for Octo with regards to the pre-event. Arrive on the Friday, get set up, have a bit of a chill, make sure your admin's all squared away, and then kick off Saturday morning. That's it then, all the way through till Sunday. So obviously there isn't a break in between the two scenarios, but it is a plough through from early doors Saturday morning until I think it's mid-morning, mid-afternoon Sunday. Potentially, I have to check the times. But so yeah, looking forward to that. New site, new event organizer, some new people to meet. So yeah, could be a good one, mate. Looking forward to it.
I am so gutted that this
is the tanks one, see, and I know what you're like. You've got a bit of a hard on for tanks.
I love tanks, and it's just like there's all these amazing events happening now, and it's like the period of time that I can't go to them. So,
well, I'll report back. I shall report back.
Yes, please do. Please do. It'll be interesting to hear how it goes.
Cheeky FaceTime, maybe. Index 10 a.m. Sunday. Thank you, Fresh Meat. I see he's ditched the Fresh Meat off of there. Not very impressed with that at all. Mike with secrets. Oh, yeah, Mike with secrets, yeah.
Yeah, I can't keep. I can keep certain secrets, but there are a lot of things I can't keep. I am the classic of buying anyone a present and then immediately tell them what I bought them. It's
guess what?
I see them, I've got you a present. I've got you a present. Do you want to see the present? Do you want to know what it is? Do you want to tell you what the present? I've told you the present. Do
you want it now? Do you want it now? Do you want it now? I know your birthday's not till like 2 months' time, but do you want it now?
Genuinely, it really winds my family up because I turn up to family events. I'm just like, here's a big box. Open the box. Open the box now. Open the box now. I want to see you. I want to see you.
I do that. I get a lot of more joy out of giving people stuff and seeing their reactions to it.
I know.
Than actually receiving a present, which is odd, but I love giving a gift. So
yeah,
there we go.
We're just two gift-giving guys.
Yeah, that's right. Midweek Wednesday secrets.
I know. I don't know if anyone's noticed. I am a lot more awake on a Wednesday, it appears, than a Friday.
Mike's had a lot of sugar, girls and boys.
I've had a lot of sugar, and yeah, it's all good. So and thank you for everyone for joining us on Wednesday. I appreciate this is obviously changing things, and hopefully this fits in with everyone's new post-lockdown schedule. Obviously, we're still getting there to the road to recovery, apparently. But yeah,
watching you boys from the comfort of my truck. Yes, sounds good.
Cool. I don't know what to say to that. That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, fair play. It must be It must be a nice truck to be able to be big. I wonder if it's guys. Are you a long haul driver? Are you? Because I would Mr. Bassett in our team's HVG driver, isn't he? He's got a new cab and it looks wicked. It's got all sorts of gadgets. Big nice spread out the back with Roman bath and all sorts of behind them. There's all sorts goes on behind the seats of a lorry driver's cab, isn't there?
Metaphorically and physically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andy says, I'm always shouted at when I give the missus a present. Oh, Andy.
Oh, give me a present, mate. I won't shout at you.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the invite as well for the kitchen party as well, mate. Still waiting on that invite.
Mark says, watching you should be getting his kit ready. Yeah, Mark, I don't know, you might disagree. I get the impression that you're probably like me in that you pack 1 to 2 days before the event.
Mark's still packing when we get to the event.
Yeah, I was going to be polite there and kind of let him give a chance to say himself, but yeah.
That's why I always put him as rear guard when we're doing the all back for any patrols. Like Mark's last, he will bring up the rear literally.
Hi Ed, thanks for joining.
Evening, Ed.
Gaz says, I've just started back on the HGVs again after a 3-year break.
Ah, there we go. Nice one, mate. Cool. 48-inch flat screen in the back there with my ugly mug on it, and Mike's, of course. Not ugly mug, though. Beautiful mug.
Andy says it's not the present you want. Well, maybe.
That's creepy. Let's move on from that. Anyhow, back on the show.
Patrick Mason says, I still haven't packed anything. Man after my own heart.
Yeah. There we go.
Apparently has to take my sniper bargain. Do you know Patrick? Like, I don't know.
I believe Patrick's in our section for the event this weekend.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Yes, one of the new gentlemen I'm yet to meet. So yeah, welcome along, Patrick. Thanks for joining us tonight. I think this might be his first time joining the show as well, which is cool.
I believe
so. You like that?
Yeah. Cool. Well, tonight we're talking about basically shit hitting the fan. So when stuff goes wrong, how do you deal with it? What's the best ways to kind of plan for things like that? I mean, it's the classic that, you know, no matter how much you plan, as soon as the plan hits contact or whatever, it all goes to crap. So we're going to start off, I guess, with things that we kind of take with us on the basis of lessons learned, and sort of.
And Q Mike.
I really need to fix my internet.
I can pretty much get it down to a T now. Is when you pause, you go, bro, Q Mike, and he's like, I'm back.
I'm back. So yeah, we're going to talk about some stuff that obviously we take with us prior to an event, based off previous experience and stuff. We'll then cover how to fix stuff in the field, and sort of what little bits and pieces we take to do that, and then a little bit of kit maintenance after you get back, basically. So do you want to kick it off, Lance?
Not particularly. You can start.
Okay, cool. I'll kick it off then.
You always do that to me. You always do it to me. No, I'm not having it.
That's fine. No, that's fine. I don't mind. I'm just being polite. That's all.
And I'm returning your politeness with more politeness.
Yes, fuck off. So basically, what the kind of preparation side of things is for me, it's when learning points from previous events, like when stuff goes wrong. What could I have done differently to make sure that I'm covered for that in the future? Usually, unfortunately, that means taking more stuff. And I'm always keen to sort of try and find mitigation for that, because that's a bit of a pain in the arse. Because
everyone wants to streamline, but at the same time, you've got to be realistic. You
can't take two of everything, basically. But there are certain things. So, for example, the first one I want to talk about was my little source storm valve. I think it's Danny on the Reapers had the same problem as well, where these little valves actually come off quite easily. Now, I didn't think they did. I used to run, I still run the Source Hydration 1 litre kangaroo pouch. And I've run that for about 3 years and I've never had a problem with it. And then as soon as I bought my new Olive Warrior DCS, and I put the new hydration system on that, had it all going. And then literally 5-10 minutes into the first event that I was running that, I lost the end of the hydration tube, and it is a pain to drink out of if you haven't got that. So now I just make sure I've always got a little spare one in my kit. Now, whether that's with me in the field, because these are actually quite expensive. I think there's about 18, 20 quid each on their own. This one's still plastic wrapped, as you can see.
So was that actually, we're going into that a bit then, Mike. Was something actually broken on the hydration hose itself?
No, so there's a quick release. Basically, it's designed that you can all take it apart quite easily, and there's a quick release, so you can actually replace this with like a bottle fill, where you can screw a bottle on, you can squeeze water into your bladder through that. So it's actually quite a good little system. But the quick release, I think, possibly wasn't quite as strong as this, may be catching on something, and it's just pulled it off.
Okay.
But not having this means that basically I wasn't able to get any water out my bladder. So I was actually having to take my bladder out of the back pouch when I was resting and open it up and drink from it like a canteen.
Or a water bottle if you're in the UK.
Or a water bottle. So it's just a bit of a nightmare. So I always now take a spare one of these. Now, I don't necessarily take them in my kit with me. So, for example, I'm not going to have this on my plate carrier or anything like that, because it's very rare that I'm that disconnected from the rest of my stuff. And I say these are quite expensive, but I do now have a spare one of these on me at all times.
That's a good shout, mate. That's a good shout.
So, yeah, that's a good little cover.
Canteen. Don't start.
It's called a canteen. I'm not having it any other way. The other bit of kit I wanted to talk about was my little tool pouch. Recently, obviously changed these to the Snug Pack 1 litre little pouch. I think I've talked about this previously. It's basically just a little packing cube. I used to have it in. How best to describe it? It used to be like a little medic pouch thing. So the various flaps fold out, and I thought it was really nifty how I could sort of just sit there and like properly and then get all the tools out. It turns out that they weren't all properly secured in that, and every time I went like that, things either flew out or never kind of left the pouch because it would all just fall out the straps and stuff. So it's literally just in here. It's a little pouch. And then within that, I've got a variety of things, which I'll come on to more in terms of the fixings and stuff at a later date. But
is that toolkit? Is that essentially a toolkit for like your riffs as well, or is it an all-rounder to cover everything?
This is an all-round toolkit. So this basically deals with problems with the airsoft guns. It deals with problems with kit.
That's very similar to what I've done. I mean, my experience or knowledge of tech in rifles and things like that is very, very, very basic. So for that very reason, I've got a very, very basic toolkit, which can essentially help me take the upper and lower receiver out, remove the inner barrel if there's something blocked, and give it a clean. I'm confident of going that far with it and putting it back together relatively comfortably. But going into the inner workings of a gearbox or soldering inside anything like that, I'm way off with having tried any of that or practice. Maybe that's something I do need to look into. Some basic repair knowledge of, possibly a contact on the motor or something. I might be able to get away with doing that. But so I've got a very basic toolkit for taking care of minor issues like blockages, unjamming rods and things like that. So they're worth their weight in gold to be able to take one of them along with you. So
especially when you've got a long barrel, because you need an unjamming rod that's like that long.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
And that brings me on quite nicely to I always have the big sort of storage crates, like I think they're like 50 litre. Sort of waterproof tub basically. You can buy them in like B&Q, Wicks and stuff like that. I think we've again discussed these before about storage of events. For
transporting. I think we covered it in our transporting episode, didn't we?
So again, I've always got one of those in the car as a backup, and that has got everything in it. So every time I've ever gone to an event and had a problem, there is always something in there. So for example, there is always one of these now in that tub. I've got mosquito bite wipes. I've got spare armbands. So again, when you go into an event like a skirmish and where you want to go and like practice some running about and herding little kids, the tape and stuff I find a bit of a pain. So I've got armbands for those. I've got deodorant in there, spare gas bottles, BBs, unjamming rods, basically anything you can sort of think about. It's in there.
Nice,
And that's
it's good, because like I said before we came on, it's like you've got to balance out with. I mean, a lot of MilSim events or Airsoft events, if you like, weekend events. I mean, you're not going to be a massive distance from your vehicle. Obviously, no one likes to have to go back to the vehicle because it sort of takes them out of the game a little bit, and it's a bit of a ball ache. But having that one little crate, I mean, what I do with my crate is I've got a few odds and sods in there, some spare bits, and I take my basic load out in that. So this weekend, for example, I've got all my fatigues in there. I've got my boots. I've got my base layer. I've got my webbing set, my smock, bits and bobs like that. That's all in there ready to go. But then underneath that is where I keep all my spares. So, and like I mentioned in the chat, there's a roll of black duct tape in there. There's a couple of rolls of sniper tape, a bit of electrical tape, couple of packs of zip ties. Do you know what I mean? Just things like that.
To sort of your image while we're here.
You can do, mate. Yeah, I mean that's not sort of really covered what's in my. It's just extras of bits and bobs. So there we go. There. I mean that's a very basic amount of things. Now this isn't going to come out of me in the field. One or two of the items will do into my Bergen or into a patrol pack or something, but. I mean, it's just having that thing where something could break. You know what I mean? Your iPro, for example. If you're hunkered down inside your DOS bag at night or something like that, and you lean over and you snap the arm off of one of them, and if you only got that set, then you're pretty screwed. So having at least 2 pairs of glasses on you, 3 if possible. I've got 3. Luckily enough, I've got 3 pairs of sawflies there, and again, they've each got 2 sets of lenses each. So I've potentially got sort of like 6 to 9 pairs of glasses there, as long as the frames are sound still. And just some sundries, really. A bit of tape. You can fix a multitude of sins with a bit of duct tape. If for a shelter system, even a kit, some strapping, or your webbing breaks on a bag. Sniper tape is as strong as an ox. It really is good stuff to have a roll of that on you.
I wish it came in smaller quantities. because
yeah. It's a big old
carrying
roll.
that around with you is a complete nightmare.
But then, like I say, I would never take that out in the field with me. That roll of sniper tape, that would stay in my crate in the back of the car. And if I did have a bag strap go, then unfortunately, I'd have to take myself out of the game for 20 minutes to retrieve that or fix the bag. But then it puts me straight back in the game. I'm not there struggling for a weekend with a broken strap or whatever it is you might need to do. And then moving across, a bit of paracord, a couple of rifle slings. They're SA80 issued slings. They're relatively cheap on eBay, but probably one of the best 2-point slings I've used, really, from my point of view. So yeah, well happy with them. We'll always chuck a couple of them in the crate. Bootlaces are a massive one.
Oh, yes.
Definitely have a spare set of bootlaces. Got to have a set of them. And that is what it is. It is what it's for. I mean, not necessarily you could use them for something else, I suppose. It's an extra bit of paracord if you didn't have any paracord. There we go. One of the big ones for me, and I sort of harp on about it a bit, is the solid fuel burner. Now, under the bootlaces in that image there, you can see it's the new issue, but BCB solid fuel block, the Dragon fuel burners that British Army issue ones, which have sort of replaced the hexamine burner. And I'm a quite advocate of using these. However, obviously, you can sort of lazy it up a bit by using the jet boil. But my sort of argument with that is jet boil is all well and good whilst it's got gas. Now, as soon as that gas canister either runs out or the valve on your jet boil breaks or something goes wrong that stops that igniting or working or functioning as it's supposed to be intended for, then that is pretty much null and void then. Apart from using the pot to put a drink in, that whole cooking system is now defunct and you can't use it because it's reliant on a cylinder of gas to work. Whereas that there, you could use fuel, the fuel gel tablets that come with it. You could use some kindling, some sticks or whatever to generate heat to burn onto your mess tin or under your pan or whatever it is to cook a ration or make a hot drink. So again, that's a bit of kit that comes with me. It stays in my crate in the car. But if the jet boil did go down or whatever, I've got another system there to use for heating or for cooking a hot meal, having a hot drink. And it's really small. I mean, it's smaller than an iPhone. I mean, when that folds flat, you can fit 3 gel tablets inside that metal tray with the 2 little side bits. They click, unclick, they lay flat, and then that folds in concertinas down on itself. So it starts when it's out, it's like an angle, folds flat, nice and flat like that. I mean, you could carry it around with you. You wouldn't even know about it really. It's relatively light. So yeah, I'm a firm believer in having a spare sort of system for cooking. So you're not reliant on gas for that there. So yeah. Moving up to the top again there, a couple of bungee cords. Again, for anything, for lashing a bit of kit to the outside of a bag. I really like doing that, but there we go. Also, especially on your Bergen, if your Bergen strap breaks or the buckles break, you can lash the paracord, the bungee cords over the top just to hold the pack shut or anything like that, or bungeeing out a basher type shelter. It's just giving you that option there. Underneath them, a couple of really strong rubble bin liner sacks, but like the strong ones. You could anything. We all like playing at MilSim, but at the end of the day, if it is absolutely tipping down, and I mean like torrential, a lot of people are going to go to ground until it's sort of passed. So if you've got one of them in your patrol pack, you can whip it out, use it as a sleeve for your rifle to go inside. Or if you can get some quite hefty rubble sacks, it's keeping that rifle out of the rain as much as possible. They are relatively water resistant to a point, but I mean, it's only going to take a good old downpour to get inside under that dust cover and start messing up with your electronics. So, it's best to be safe than sorry. And then, like I said to Mike previously there, I've got a very basic toolkit, pair of side cutters, a little multi screwdriver with some posi and neggy ends on it, some Allen key ends, a little spanner there, which is for mounting my sights onto my Picatinny rails. They all seem, luckily enough, some of them are all the same sort of size, M6 or M8 nut. So that's been quite lucky for that. And then a little clear bag of just some different size Allen keys for my riffs and just some various sizes in case anyone else needs to borrow it. And a little housewife there with some bit of thread and cord and some spare buttons for trousers or a shirt or a smock jacket. If you pop a button off the front of your trousers, it's like, what I mean? The belt will do the job. But that's it. Yeah, running around with the boys hanging out the barracks. No one wants that, do they? And then obviously just as a bit of a I don't know how to describe it really. What's the word? Not effect. Anyhow, like a little survival tin there. It's got all bits and bobs. I mean, Christ, it's got fishing snares and things like that. You're never ever going to use them, but it's there. It's the nostalgic sort of look of having that little survival tin. The guys sort of carry around in their webbing packs or whatnot. Emergency sort of bug out tin. So that's that there, and there is some reasonably
use a rotting wire if you decide to really go.
Well, this is it. Yeah, you could really go postal on someone, couldn't you? Yeah. But it's got everything. It's got loads of kit in there. You know, you've got some purification tablets for water. You've got some weatherproof matches. You've got a flint striker, a little foldable knife. There's all sorts of bits. A tiny little torch there, a few bits and bobs. So yeah, it's more of a fun little bit of a kit. Yeah. From my point of view, sort of thing. I doubt very much I'd probably use that in an event, but it's just a nice little kit, nice to have sort of thing on you. So you never know. So that's pretty much all. Sorry,
Andy asked what's the thing with law written on it. I think from
that there, Andy, is
the little box that the cooker goes in, is it?
It's there's a little there is a little tiny little cooker on the bottom right hand corner of the table. So that's a little fold out gas stove topper, and that's the orange case that it came in, mate. And that cost me about £4 off of eBay, and it's still a wicked bit of kit now. But again, it's that one little backup system that takes up no room that you can leave in the car. If your jet ball or whatever cylinder you was working does go down, you've got another topper there, another sort of regulator, if you like, you can screw on, and hopefully that works. Failing that, you've got the solid fuel block burner there. I mean, there was a little thing there, like Mike said about he wished sniper tape would come in smaller rolls. I mean, you've got a lighter there, and all I've done is I've wrapped about a third of a roll of electrical tape around the lighter, because not only is tape a really good source of fuel for lighting a fire, but it's also an easier way of carrying it, and actually sort of prevents your lighter from getting too smashed up. So there's added protection there.
I have a question on lighters. We'll jump into the chat as well, because I know there's a fair few things coming in on that. I've had a lighter go off in my kit now because I've just thrown it in like that, and I've been trying to find some little cap to go over the top of it, but it's literally it didn't ignite, but there was definitely, you could tell like the button had been depressed and all the gas started to sort of come out of the lighter.
Yeah,
something to be aware of. Sorry, I'm back. Something to be aware of.
I know you can get the silicone sleeve that a lighter can sit inside. So whether when you're traveling, you could turn it around the other way and pop it in there, maybe something like that, or get yourself a look. I mean, these tobacco type tins, they're like 10 a penny on eBay. You can get multiple packs of them. You can get like 4 or 5 for a tenner. So to keep a little fire lighting kit in there would be ideal, really. I mean, that's what that bottom one is there, next to the duct tape on the bottom. That little smaller tin, that's actually like an emergency fire lighting kit. Mm-hmm. Just different things to consider for an event, sort of thing like that.
Yeah, but to be fair, Ray just said get on with the lids. Yeah, so I've got a little. I went and bought like one of the little fire windproof ones. Sorry, the fire little cone, and that's got a little lid on it. So that's a lot better now. But yeah, it's just something to be aware of for anyone that's just storing a lighter in your kit, just loose. Something to, just don't catch fire, basically.
That's it. Avoid catching fire at all costs.
Top tip: don't burn yourself.
Don't catch fire.
Should we run into the chat briefly? Because I'm conscious.
Yes, mate. Yeah, definitely.
People have said loads of exciting things, and that's not sarcasm. Genuinely, I was looking to. Wayne says get a gun tech in your team. That's obviously quite helpful. You know, it's always good to know someone that's running around with you that might have a rough idea if it's just like trigger lock or, you know,
trigger lock's a big one.
Like yeah,
if you get trigger lock, then yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. We're very lucky to have a good gun tech in our team, which is cool.
Rage says they have a clip by the valve, so we're obviously talking about the source hydration. The disconnect it. I've lost one too. Yeah,
maybe a cheeky bit of tape around that to hold it in place.
A little quick disconnect thing. It's easy to press. However, Andy has said that if you put a little bit of plastic under the quick release and then put a bit of friction tape around it, you stop that from happening.
Oh, top tip, Mr. Bob. Thank you very much. Ooh. Love a top tip.
Yeah. Charlie says next APOC Trojan are running 4 times stoners.
Yes, please. Oh,
love
brutal.
John says net curtain wire. You roll it up, but can be used to clear and clean barrels. Had some for years. That's not a bad shout, actually.
That's a wicked shout, mate.
That would give you like a nice little flexible unjamming rod. So yeah, cool. Ed says, "Where is your toolkit to repair your tools?"
I might have got that.
Exactly. That's the benefit of having multiple toolkits. So if there is a problem, then you know. You don't
I mean, obviously as well. This can, like Ed's saying there, where's the toolkit to repair the tools? But I mean, that does hark back to almost like the buddy system, doesn't it? You know, if me and Mike know we're going to be in a gruesome twosome for the weekend, I mean, you can go as far as to say, well, we only need one basher set up because we can both get underneath that. So I'll bring the basher, you bring that, one sleeping bag, Oi, oi. Do you know what I mean? One sock. That's that covered. But you know what I mean? So although you may not have to bring all the there's no point both you having two sets of toolkits. There's no point you both having a 2 jet boils. Do you know what I mean? You can afford then to take. I can afford to take a couple of extra litres of water to cover our cooking and drinking needs. If Mike could bring the jet boil along or something like that, you know.
See, I would say that for most events that I've ever gone to, the buddy system would probably be a bit unnecessary. So, for example,
you're too close to civilization. I want to say.
I think if you're having to walk more than an hour from your car, then it's a much better system to put in place. So, for example, if you're ever doing it wild camping or backpacking, anything like that, the buddy system is perfect for that. But most events that I know that I've gone to, it's very much a case of I'm probably 10 minutes from the car with a massive box. But that being said, some of the Sterling events, from my understanding, are a little bit more, I guess MilSim for all better purposes, and that you do need to sort of pack stuff to deal with those. So
it's a lot more smarter pack. Not that we don't pack smart anyhow, but it's you. I think you used to for an event like that. I'd seriously consider. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of it of locations and then how far away you are from sort of reorging or back at some sort of safe zone, if you like. But I'd certainly look to certainly streamline the kit right down for an event like that, if possible.
Private Ratica says 2 is 1, 1 is none.
Yeah, that's a given, mate. A given. On certain things, obviously, I mean, there's got to be a line drawn somewhere with it. The Bergen can only hold so much.
Yeah. But that being said, whenever I take a basher and hammock setup, I always take a tent with me, just in case.
See, I don't.
It just sits in the car.
I'm heavily. No, I've not done that. I've only ever taken, if I'm like the shelter system, I've never really. I think because it's such a simple thing. It's a basher. It's a tarp. Do you know what I mean? It's so versatile. I mean, you can A-frame it up between 2 trees. You can peg it out to the ground and make a really standard looking tent. You could have it as a lean-to. It's if I had to choose one shelter to use for airsoft MilSims or weekends away for the rest of it, would just be a basher or a 3x4 tarp or something like that. Because it's more versatile. You can do so much more with it.
Oh, I completely agree. It's just my mindset is always, that might blow away and I want a tent just in case.
Get out of that mindset. Just take the basher.
Well, to be fair, I don't carry it with me. It's just in the car.
But, that's fair. Well, yeah, if it's just like a backup thing in the car. But I mean, I'm fully confident in my basher.
No, I am as well. I don't carry the tent with me, to clarify. It's only merely just as a backup in case there's a problem.
Yeah, but it's like that comfort blanket. You're like, well, it's the tent's in the car. It's fine. But if you take that comfort blanket away, no tents next time.
Okay.
No tents.
I'll take a second basher.
There you go. That works. We can do that.
Yeah. Ray says, so you keep a bag with duct tape, rope, tarp, and sharp things. It doesn't look like a murder kit at all. Yeah. So
stays in the back of the car.
I actually have one of these in the back of my car permanently, like a little kit, which pretty much has all of those things in it, along with other bits and pieces. Not
for moisturizer,
but I do even have a shovel in there as well. Just it's basically like a little EDC kit for the car, so if there's ever a problem. So yeah, I've now acknowledged the fact I might look like I have a murder kit in my car. So cool.
Murder kit.
Thanks, Rage. I'm definitely calling it that from now on.
Yep,
it's even in a red bag.
With murder on it. Murder kit.
Jay says, wrap a smaller amount of green sniper tape around a twig and take it with you. That's what I do. The tape is so useful. That's not a bad shout, actually. If you could decant the tape into a small amount. I guess that's what you've done with your electrical tape, isn't it?
That's it, be around the lighter there, mate. Yeah. But I mean, one thing I've noticed with sniper tape as well, it seems to be a bit more reusable. It seems to hold its tackness, its stick more than other tapes, which is cool. So I see what Jade's going with that. Yeah, wrapping it around even to the point of wrapping it around like a pen or something like that, just a bit of tubing, just to give you that smaller, more compact, but give you a bit of length in the sniper tape. Yeah, that'd be well handy.
I mean, Andy's gone with a very different approach, which is he just stamps on the roll to make it flatter. So, I mean, it works. It works. Yeah. I'm not gonna question it.
Just stamp a really angry man just jumping up and down. Fair play. Yeah, if it works, mate, it works. Why not?
Yeah, it's a little top tip for toilet roll as well. Is that if you pull out the cardboard insert into toilet roll, try to use like half a roll. So take one that's like been used in the house or whatever for a couple weeks. So it's a much reduced roll. Take the cardboard out and you can flatten those down as well.
Yeah.
Top little tip there.
Nice.
Dale says, yeah, just get a Zippo. It has a lid. Yeah.
Zippo's a good shout, but then make sure you put some spare flints under the cotton wool bit on the inside. Top tip.
Yeah. A lot of people are recommending a Zippo. I say the little windproof ones are quite good. But it's just if anyone is just carrying a loose lighter like the traditional little smoker's lighter, just bear in mind that it's not necessarily the most secure. Wayne says my battery's fine. It's still my skill at using it, which is sketchy.
Easy, mate. We'll put it to the test on Friday.
Yeah. So one of the things we are going to do is when we can get out a little bit more freely is film some various I guess it was side videos, I guess you call them. Which we'll be putting up on Facebook and YouTube for Rage. And probably Instagram if I can work it out actually. But that'll basically be covering things like basher setups and stuff like that. Those little sort of sideline thing. Because we're not experts, but we've got a bit of experience in putting these things up. So
yeah, I mean, well, the way I put mine out, it works for me. I've never got wet from it, so I call that a win.
Pro Raticus says, always remember the episode King of the Hill where Hank pulls out his WD-40 and sticks. So he pulls out a smaller WD-40 to use on the big can. Amazing. Actually, that's actually
my tool shed.
I don't know if I've got that with me. I do own a little tiny WD-40. And the reason I bought that is I was reading a book. I think it was based on the SAS where they were doing an infiltration of some sort of compound thing, and they had to open a door. And before they went in, they actually oiled the hinges and the locks and stuff like that. So when they opened the door, it didn't make a massive screeching sound.
Fair play.
So I went and bought it. I've never used it for that because I've never had to breach an old rusty door.
In a hostage situation.
No, but it was a little bit of me was like, oh, man.
I need that.
I WD-40 for no reason.
I must have that.
Yeah.
That's a good bit of kit, mate. The old water displacement test 40 is always good. Always good to have a tin of it on you.
Ray says, is that in case your victims escape? Yes. Ray also says, sniper tape is just bandage, right? They OTs, I don't understand that. They OTs use it to make splints and physios use it to strap up joints. You should keep a roll with you. Oh, okay. That's cool.
Good shout, mate. Fair play.
What does OT mean? Can someone explain that to me? Because I'm dumb.
The OTs.
I'm assuming Rage is going to come in with a comment in a second to explain.
Any second now.
We'll come back.
Plow on.
Yeah. Last few couple of points. Patrick Mason says snowboarding. I wrap sparky tape around one of my boots under my trousers because of how useful it is. That's a good shout.
Yeah, fair play, man.
Yeah, I mean, one other thing I'd like to point out is that there's very different grades of electrical tape. So I mean, I've got this one that's got like a wooden core in it, and it's not too bad, but it does sort of bump out and warp a little bit. It's not ideal. Whereas I have had some before with like a plastic core. It's like proper technician's tape, and that's been perfect. But for the life of me, don't know where to buy it. So if anyone can point me in that direction, I mean, this is fine. But
for sort of tape like that, I mean, you want to be looking at sort of like City Electricals and things like that.
Yeah, I've been looking around. I mean, to be fair, this just comes off Amazon, so. But
3M as well. They do good electrical tape. I get some stuff at work that's howling. Absolutely. You just peel a bit off it and it just shanks off and just splits, and it's just like, well, this is ridiculous. This is no good to me. Self-amalgamating tape. Self-amalgamating tape's good. That actually bonds to itself and it actually creates a watertight seal, which is cool. Okay. You can get yourself some of that. It's quite expensive, but it's good for sealing up bits, especially electrical stuff.
Cool. Oh, right. Hang on. Everyone's fixed OT. So OT is an occupational therapist.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Nice one, Rage. Thank you very much, sir.
Patrick said the same thing. They make splints and things as well as doing other things. Cool. Oh, nice one. Thanks, James. It's going to send me a link to some of that tape.
Beautiful.
And Les says, hello, you slags.
Hello, Les. Hi, Les. Hi, Hans.
So in terms of your toolkit, I'll just briefly run into what I carry. I have to admit, I have taken a few things out because I'm planning to take my toolkit with me It's in my paternity bag when I go to the hospital because I just wasn't sure if I might need it or not. And it's in such a tiny little pouch. I was like, maybe I need to fix a cupboard door or something. Or I've got a knife in case I need to cut the umbilical cord. So a few things that I carry generally. So I've got a little cold steel Tanto blade. I think this costs about 10, 15 pounds. It's quite cheap. But it's quite it's a pro light if anyone's interested. But so I just use that for like general cutting of
throats,
paracord and stuff like that.
Achilles tendons.
The scalps of my enemies. So I call these side cutters. Now I don't know if that's necessarily what they are. Flush cutters, whatever.
Side or flush cutters, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a pair of those. I also have a tiny pair of those as well. So I always have these on my actual kit. The reason being is that whenever you go and chrono, I've had so many lacerations from bits of cable tie and stuff like that.
Mate, yeah.
Just cut the sharp end off, and then you're running around. And you just like you get this gash down your hand.
It's not even cut the end off. It's like just let a rat chew the end of it off. It's just this huge spike sticking out. It's like, nice one. So
side cutters are particularly useful. I will rattle through this. Permanent marker. Just in case I need to mark anything permanently. I always carry a speed loader. Again, just for, I always carry a speed loader for the BBs just in case I need to suddenly load up for any reason.
Is that going in your paternity bag as well?
It was in my paternity bag and I took it out because it was one of the things I definitely didn't need.
A couple of Mark 5s in there just in case.
I genuinely looked at the smoke because I was in here when I was packing it. I was like looking at the smoke grenades going, I kind of want to take one, but I don't have any reason for it.
Just to celebrate. You could take a blue and pink.
Just stand there. Just, yeah.
Oh!
One thing, to be fair, I think Rage has just said if you carry a cheap knife, you should carry a knife sharpener, as cheap knives use cheap steel, so they don't hold an edge very well. And Rage, you will be assured that I do have my Lansky little pocket knife sharpener in there as well, which is both ceramic and steel sharpening on there. So that's quite useful. One thing I would say with the knives, though, as well, is this is obviously a locking knife, so please read the law on those. You shouldn't necessarily be carrying one of those around with you without a good defense. So I'm not going to lecture anyone on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Electrical tape, as discussed. I've got one of the little I can't remember what they're called now.
Xenon lights or something.
Yeah, the little night core lights.
That's the kiddies, yeah.
So I bought a load of those. So I've always got one of those in there. Your little bag of Allen keys, I have exactly the same, and I just collect them. So every time I ever get given something packs, or I pick up something with an Allen key, it just goes in there, and it's a nightmare because I'm pretty certain I've got multiple Allen keys that do the same thing, but I'm always like, well, I might need it. So probably need to rationalise that. Tiny pack of cable ties. We'll come on to those in a second, but little small cable ties like that are quite useful. Yeah, definitely. I have I've got another Allen key set. These are from Halfords, actually. I think these are about £12. So they've got 6 different Allen keys on them. So you've got all the way from whatever that size is to the tiny one, as well as a little cross-headed Phillips screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver as well. They generally kind of cover most of the standard gauges on most airsoft stuff. It obviously all folds down into like a little multi-tool like that. I've got so many of these around the house because I'm always needing Allen keys and I never know where they are. So I just bought like 30 of these and I literally just put them in various different places around the house. And then we've got these everywhere. So
fair play, nice.
Yeah. Spare shoelace, 9-volt battery, which if anyone's read my tag name, it's a whole different story, but I always have a spare 9-volt battery on me now. And then this little gizmo, which is for anyone that uses WE CO2 magazines. This basically allows you to take the little screw thread off of those to replace the CO2 canister. That's my little toolkit.
Fair play, man. Nice.
So, do you want to talk about repairs in the field?
Yes, let's do that. So, let's for example, how would you deal with, Mike, from your point of view? Say, like, let's talk about the basher systems, and where you say you've got a spare tent in the car and that. So if your basher, your tarp did go down, an eyelet broke or anything, what sort of method would you have sort of ready?
I'd go get my tent.
You'd go and get your tent. But is there anything that would sort of spring to mind to say, right, okay, that's this corner tab or this corner eyelet's now broken.
Yeah.
So
I'm
gonna have to sort of fashion something to
duct tape. Duct tape would be the main one. You can obviously fold that over. It's obviously fairly self-binding. You can put holes in that, and you can sort of create extra little tabs. So if you've got one of the tabs falls off, you can create a new one. Duct tape is key for that. I guess you could probably do it. There's no reason why you couldn't use it with the sniper tape as well. I don't know the differences between duct tape and sniper tape in terms of adhesive qualities or waterproofing. I don't know how they would last up. I obviously know the difference between those two types of tape.
Yeah. I'll give you a little tip, right? Which doesn't involve any tape. Right. So say, for example, this is a little brown fleece of mine, but say that is the corner of your basher. There's look at that. How handy. There's the zip. There's the little eyelet. So that breaks. That's completely. You've got no way of affixing a guy line to that now. What you can do, which I don't have anything to hand that would, let's say this is a little round pebble. So all you do is you put that inside your basher. You'd fold the material around it to create a sort of like a choke. Then what you do then is you just put a loop into your end of your paracord, go around that, tighten it off, and then pull that tight. And then obviously the stone's there, so it's going to hold the loop around the material still.
Yeah.
So that's all you do, and it's the same principle for the center of your basher.
Out with the tape.
Yeah, but it's the same for like say the top of your basher, or like say for if you've got a poncho with a hood in it, you could just do that. I mean, you could essentially get a big ball of grass, just ball it up, put it into the hood, pull the drawstrings tight around it, and then put your paracord around that, and you could then essentially put it up like a teepee sort of type thing. As long as you've got something like, so there's the material, stone on the inside, put it tight around it, and then loop around that base plate of that stone, and then it won't be able to take it off. So it's a wicked tried and tested bit of a sort of get you out of jail sort of tip there.
Right, says you can tie a knot in the corner as well.
Yeah, do you know what? I've tried that, but whether it's just not enough material in that there. But what I found is that I've tried doing that, but to get a half decent knot, it's taken up quite a lot of the material of the basher. Whereas if you just get the stone and put it inside the material and create that sort of choke point, but then you put your loop around it, you're sort of minimising the amount of material you're having to use to sort of fashion a repair, if you know what I mean. So, but yeah, no, you're right, mate. Absolutely right. It does work. Yeah, that's it. Just a slip knot around it. Bosh. And that's it. Just pull it tight. Same principle, mate. Whether it's a knot in the material or a pebble or something underneath there to create sort of like something for the paracord to bind round.
I like that, because obviously you're using stuff that you've actually got around you rather than having to need something else.
Exactly, mate. Yeah. I mean, you can find a ball of grass or crunch something up. Do you know what I mean? That would do the job quite easily. And
he says Lance with the fieldcraft knowledge. Well, that's what it's about. So if anyone else has got any little top tips,
very minimal. I'm sure there's far more people in the chat that know a lot more about fieldcraft than I do.
Something I was going to raise. So I've had it before where the bridge piece of my goggles fell off. I lost them completely, which obviously you then run the risk of opening your iPro up. Basically, it's sort of making it unsafe. I don't know if anyone's come across these little packets of Sugru. These are quite good. It's like a little sort of Play-Doh. It's basically like blue tack. It's like a little packet.
You've mentioned this before, but it's like a moldable glue type.
So you open them up. I mean, this one's out of date, so I'll probably open it up now. Actually, I'll show you because they are. Oh, you need scissors. It's basically like a little amount of blue tack that you get in the packet. If I can get it quickly, and you mold it around a little bit. And then it just goes hard and it turns into silicone basically. So there you go. That's what comes out.
I'm with you.
So that's normally quite soft. It's definitely gone out of date because it sort of cures over time. But that actually forms like a proper heat-resistant silicone shape. Whatever you shape it into, it will form that in about 4 hours. And obviously, the longer it dries and sort of cures and sets, you can basically create all sorts of odd sorts out of that. So if you're finding that, there's a bit of your gun that's rubbing on your hand, anything like that, you can sort of form grips and things around it. It's quite useful.
Oh, so you actually fashioned a new nose piece sort of thing for your specs?
Yeah, so literally I just
To get
fashioned
you out
it.
of jail.
I stuck it onto the glasses, made sure it wasn't sort of impinging on my vision, put the glasses on, and then it actually formed perfectly to the shape of my nose. And it was complete, custom setup at that point.
No,
I
fair
was a
play,
bit
man.
annoyed
That's good,
that the nose piece fell off. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it worked quite well.
but you was able to adapt and overcome, wasn't it? So you sort of, you repaired something in the field and just cracked on with it. So yeah, spot on, mate. Yeah. All good.
Ed says, or Siddigiddy, sorry, can I suggest an awl tool? It allows you to make a hole in fabric without breaking the weave. You can then thread a cable ties through it to mend and attach. I use it a lot for making gillies. Oh, okay, so like one of those proper like little sharp things.
Yeah, then you can get the brass eyelet and sort of clamp it down. I mean, I guess, I don't know whether I'd take one in the field with me because it's, if I, like I said, that little pebble trick works a treat. It really does. But yeah, definitely. Because I was wondering about actually adding a couple of additional eyelets to my. There's always a point, do you know what I mean, when you're putting up a bash or something like that, and you think I could really do with an eyelet there, but it's not there. So I'm gonna have to have a tiny little crease in it now, which is quite annoying if you're OCD and you want a nice smooth edges on it. But yeah, that's a good shout, Ed. Yeah, no, fair play, mate. Like
that. Yeah. Ray said, "Would that work on a basher though?" I guess it would. So I don't. I mean, maybe it wouldn't. It would probably still permanently create a hole. I guess.
Right. Oh, there you go, Nick. Yeah, fair play, mate.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, it is quite expensive, this Sugu, for what it is. I mean, you don't actually get a lot of it per pack. But that's, I'll hold it there. That's how much you get per little sachet. But I think they do deals and stuff on Amazon. And it's Amazon Prime Day, maybe today, I think. So they might have some of that for discounts on there. Andy says the only tool worth bringing is me. Wait.
Not sure how to take that.
I want to just cut back to Rage mentioned about Skeletal. So the Leatherman Skeletal has attachments that include hex keys, torque heads, and such. And the whole thing costs about 120 quid. So I am a firm advocate for Leathermans.
They are a great tool.
I think the Gerbers, to be fair, aren't bad. I've just always been a Leatherman man. What I would say though is I was on Amazon and I was looking to get a sort of relatively cheap multi-tool for my little murder bag in my car. I'm calling it that now because I'm going to own it. I think it's brilliant. And I found this, which is a WAV Raging. If that's what they use. And it's basically a little multi-tool. I think it costs like £12 though. And to be fair, I was a bit dubious when I bought one because I was like, well, this is going to be a bit naff. But I mean, this is the worst background for this. It's got pliers on it. It's got a little blade that seems okay. It's sort of held up.
And he's back.
It's held up to a little bit of use that I've given it. But it also includes on it a little square-shaped Phillips screwdriver, which then comes with a variety of the little attachments as well. So
nice.
You've got the little socket on there that you can then adapt that to whatever you want it to be. And I've used this a few times. I've got one of these in my office, in my desk at my office at work. And the number of times that I have actually used it, I thought, oh, it's going to be a bit naff. But yeah, I went and bought a few of these as well because they're actually not too bad quality. Now, granted, I appreciate it's not going to be the best blade and stuff. So, Leatherman.
Yeah, I've got the Leatherman mutt tool, the military utility tool. So that's good. I mean, it's got things on there that I'm not necessarily going to need for me in airsoft, like a carbon scraper and that for cleaning a real steel weapon. But it acts as a great center punch for knocking pins out to get the top receiver off and bits and bobs like that. So yeah, I do use it. It's got a killer sharp blade on it. Oh my god, the blade on that thing is unreal on that Leatherman mutt. So yeah, a great Leatherman. Yeah, can't recommend them enough. They're a great multi tool. And it, like Ray said, it comes with I think it comes with two. It comes with two. It comes with a long posi screwdriver with two different sizes, one at each end, and then it comes with a long neggy, and then it comes with two shorter versions as well on the opposite side. It's really cool setup. I do like it. It's a good bit of kit.
Finding a picture for you quick, if I can.
The Leatherman mutt. It's like a golden black sort of colour, brass and black. There we go. That's the kitty there.
So that's the little carbon scraping thing, isn't it?
Carbon scraping bits and bobs there. Yeah, I mean, obviously it is directed at for obviously military use. But it's quite good. It's got a little carabiner type thing in there, so you can clip it on. There's no chance of losing it, things like that. There's a variety of bits and bobs on there.
Yeah, I was just looking up because I think this might have an all on it. I know we obviously talked about those earlier. I did see. Oh, no, maybe not. I know when I was looking at pen knives and things to put in my little EDC kits. But yeah, there are a few on there that have the little all on there. So, Rage says if you don't use them lots, I'm sure it'll be fine. I've tried many cheaper ones over the years and they break. Never broke a Leatherman though. Yeah, completely agree. I have actually broke a Leatherman. The pliers on it. I tried to fix the gears on my bike. One of the gears, the teeth basically bent. So I tried using the end of my Leatherman to pry that back and snapped off the end of the Leatherman. But fortunately, they actually have a lifetime warranty. So they fixed that for me. So
result, nice.
Cool. Mike with supply cache in each room. It's a really useful thing to have. I've also got tape measures all over the place as well. Because you never know when you need to tape measure.
You never know. Absolutely.
No. Especially when you're doing DIY and the wife goes, "Oh, well, would this fit?" And you're like, "Oh, let me just get my tape measure and we can check."
That's what she says. Do you reckon this furniture would fit over there? And I usually just go, yeah, probably. Yeah, be fine. Crack on.
Ray says, I'm sure they have the socket light Skeletal, so you can buy the 2 attachment sets for it, Lance. They're about £30.
Oh, good shout, mate. Oh, I'll look at that. Nice one. All good, all good, all good. I mean,
in terms of actually fixing stuff in the field, it's quite hard. I mean, I'm just sitting there sort of thinking of various situations I've had. I mean, most of my fixes have only ever been like cable ties, electrical tape, and string or shoelaces or
bit of paracord. Yeah, but then again, it does a job and it gets you out of a bind. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if it comes to, let's be honest, the main thing that's going to really fuck your weekend up is when your riff goes down. And like I've said, and I happily admit, I've not got the knowledge to repair, to go into the deep inner workings of a gearbox. And I could, like I said, I can do some minor bits and bobs and try my best. And that's why, essentially, bring a spare with you, bring a spare, chaps. Leave it in the car if you have to, or if you're able to deploy to your fob. In all your harbour area, and you can take a gun bag with you. Have your primary, have a secondary in there as well. I wouldn't necessarily bring a spare secondary sidearm unless you're sniping or DMR constantly. Then probably a good idea to have a spare secondary pistol to go along with the setup, because obviously that's going to put you in a bind as soon as they get inside of your MED. You're going to be switching to your sidearm, and if that goes down, then you're sort of scuppered a bit. Then be down to knives and rubber axes. Which is all good fun. Imagine when they're coming at you from out the bushes. You was inside my MED, so I thrown a rubber tomahawk at you.
Start shouting, fix bayonets.
Yeah, shit. What have I got myself into? But yeah, I mean, like I said, basic field repairs on bits and bobs, having a bit of knowledge and looking at your kit and sort of thinking, if that strap did break, or if that backpack, if the shoulder strap did go on that, what could I do to sort of fashion? I mean, there's one great thing, and it's on Kit Monster, you can get them. One good thing with my Bergen is the primary clips that hold the actual main pack lid shut. Is you can get spares for it, and what it is in front of the main clips, you've got two webbing loops which you can sort of run strapping through to fix a roll mat to the top of the bag. But what you can get, they're called PLCE extension clips, so personal load carrying equipment extension clips. I'm sure they're on Kit Monster and they're about £6.50 each. There you go. They will fit,
mate, with the price.
Bosh. Do you know what? And I haven't bought some of them for years, but obviously you've got the female clip there, so your male clips will be on the Bergen. But what you can do then is when you shut your lid, you put them on there and you click your lid shut using these. And now what that does is if they break, then it doesn't matter. You unpop them, you put a new set on there. If you break the female clips that are actually stitched to the Bergen, then you're a bit up shit street then. So I never use the original clips that come with the Bergen lid. I always clip onto the them ones. But for that very reason. So you've got them right at the top of the bag there. The guys have used it. But if you look at the lower clip set up there, so they go through there. They've got Velcro and they've got 2 press studs, and you can use them all day long then. And like the male ones, they're on the strap in there. So if they break, you can change them out because you can take them off. But the female ones that are actually on the bag are stitched in place. So you'd have to cut the webbing, and it's a big ball ache. But them ones there, do you know what I mean? £6.50 for a set. Laughing all day long, boys. So that's a great little bit of prep work, sort of get you out the crap sort of thing. So if they did break, then you have got the original clips you can do your bag up with. But I've never had them fail. I mean, they're a wicked investment. They are for £6.50. You can't really go wrong. to extend the life of your Bergen. So yeah, nice little,
Cool.
another little top tip there.
Rage says at the APOC event the other weekend, he had to take apart his fist, which is a filling device for my tag launch shells. Yeah, I can imagine that was probably... There's nothing worse than when something very fundamental to your game goes down. So, for example, you get a gun jam or...
Yeah, I mean, it can be really disheartening as well. It's like my 249 went down last weekend again. Like, I thought I got it sorted. No fault of the guys. It's just one of those things, it turns out it was a loose motor connection and the external barrel was loose on it, which was just making BBs fly off. And obviously it weren't working because the motor was disconnected. So, but again, that's something I'm naive to because I don't know enough about riffs to sort of think of or problem solve. Do you know what I mean? Or sort of troubleshoot the problem. Which obviously now that's something else I can remember to check if it does go down again or something does happen. I can take the little motor out and have a little look, see if the connection's loose. But yeah, it's really disheartening, especially when you think, oh yeah, right, let's bring some pain, and you're like, brr.
Yep. There's nothing worse.
God damn it!
It's the same with anything. Like when you I don't know, say that you've planned for an event. I mean, prime example is when my sleeping bag broke. I mean, my solution to that was basically just suffer, and it was crap.
Suffer and cry. But then Jade did pipe up the following week and say, "Oh, you should have said I've got loads of spare sleeping bags in my car."
Yeah, but to be fair, it's a bit of an odd thing to just go around and go, "Does anyone have a spare sleeping bag?"
By chance, just purely by chance. Do you don't have?
That being said, I generally now have a spare sleeping bag in my car.
Well, I'm sorted for the next Octo event because I'm not going to bother taking any sleeping kit. I'm just going to
ask Jade.
Hey, that spare stuff. Any chance? Just to save me packing all my stuff.
Pro Erraticus says, I've been looking at the Gerber MP600 bladeless multi-tool, but still on the fence at the moment. And Rage very kindly said, Gerber okay, but if you have the money for one, then you could probably afford a Leatherman, which are better. So
I must say that event the other week with Rage and his tag launcher was he got me an absolute kipper at the back end of the stockade. I managed to get up to this sandbag bunker. And I was on the back corner of it, and I had a DMR, and I could see him up there. He's in the front tower over the front gate, and I could just see him. I saw this massive beard. I was like, "There he is!" I was like, cutting rounds, and I had him in the sights, and this round just slid past him, and I saw him go, "Whoa!" like that, and then he come up, and this big black thing went, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I ducked down, and then I came back up, and I just saw this tag round coming towards me, and it was like a bouncing ball. It just skipped off the roof of the bunker, went. Boom! I was like, "Oh, dead, dead man." I just walked off and back into the woods with the ump.
Yeah,
that was a great bit of kit. It was good to see. It was a good bit of kit to see in operation. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Sorry, I'm just reading things on there. Rage said it's more just a ball lake to take it apart in the woods and not lose the tiny hex screws. Fixed it though. One thing I found whenever you take anything apart in the woods, I don't know if anyone else does this. I have a little white flannel or like gym towel. So it's probably only about that big. But because it's stupid camera.
There he is.
Yeah,
a bit jazz hands like that.
Hey, it's very contrasting with the ground that you're generally on. So it's quite useful if you are, and because I think it's like fluffy on one side, so it's like a normal towel. But if you are taking anything apart, it's quite useful to have that, and then you can put everything down, and then where it's fluffy, it sort of holds things in place. So if you're doing anything like that,
I mean, where I work, one thing is I've seen a couple of guys use it. Not that I use it myself, but probably should do. Really, is it's a little wrist thing. It's a magnetic wrist strap. So if we're working inside a box and you undo a screw, you can literally just go click, and it will obviously magnetize to this band. And it's got a tiny little, it's almost like is it like a petri dish sort of type shape?
Okay,
it's got a tiny little lip around it, so if there is any movement, which there won't be because it's fully magnetic, you can just drop the screws in there, and obviously it keeps them safe, and you can take them back in and do as you will with them. So that might be something to consider. Maybe a little magnet block that you could put the fixes on, Rage. If you do, if this could be a sort of problem you face using a tag launcher and there's maintenance you've got to carry out, mate, then or for anyone really for taking apart riffs, and some of the screws that you do get with them are fucking ridiculously small. I don't necessarily think there has to be a reason for them to be that small. They could possibly make them bigger. But you know,
easy to lose.
we must get on. We must get onto these toy manufacturers and air our concerns for their screw sizes. But yeah, like a little magnet block or something like that, you can just drop a few of the fixings onto. At least you've got more chance of finding them if it is dropped on the floor on a big block than you are an individual sort of like M3 fixing. You know what I mean? Because that's a ball ache in the daylight, let alone during the night or something like that.
Yeah, Ray says he used the lid of his tobacco tin to put the screws in so he would lose them. I mean, again, there is nothing worse than even if something does break and then you take it apart and you're frustrated anyway, and then you lose something and that's it. It's just like, it's thrown against a tree and it's just like, oh.
Fuck this, I'm going home. I want to see a little magnet now super glued into Rage's tobacco tin lid just for next one with a screw on it, a spare one, just one screw. Doesn't know where it's from.
Pink says the white pillowcases I do like your towel. Yeah, so the only thing with the towel is obviously if you're sweaty. I mean, I'll get quite sweaty, but if you're sweaty, you can obviously still use it as a towel. The pillowcase. I mean, to be fair, I do carry a few black pillowcases around with me as well as like
in the murder bag.
Yeah, they're not in the murder bag. I don't carry those around with me, but no, I do carry sort of black. I mean, we have capture kits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We don't generally tend to use them at the moment because of COVID and stuff. But
no, I've got my big safety goggles that are all blacked out with tape, ready to go back on once we can get closer.
Yeah. See, I just prefer like pillowcases because they can compact smaller and you don't have like a fixed shape.
Satin ones.
Yeah.
Feel nice.
The silk.
One
thing I was just gonna go back to whilst I can is. We'll talk about the Hexi stoves.
There we go.
So for anyone that's not aware of the Prepper Shop, so it's preppershop.co.uk. They've actually got these for £1.60 at the moment.
Absolute no-brainer, that is, guys.
Fire Dragon Gel starting blocks as well for another £1.60.
That's a wicked price.
So there's postage on top of that as well. I think their standard postage is about £5.
Yeah, so you're looking at probably a tenner for a cook set, but it's like I said, for one that's going to get you out, and it's nothing. There's absolutely nothing wrong. It's a perfectly usable, serviceable cook set that you can use all the time, and it's tiny. You know, it is minuscule for what it is. Easily, nice and sturdy. I mean, you can dig a little, like very small shell scrape or something like that into the ground, put it in there so it's completely level with the floor. Mess tin on that, and then you're laughing. It's a great little bit of kit.
It's a good website. I recommend to anyone. They have like flash deals and stuff like that, and we're not paid to advertise them at all.
No, but like we said, one of our things we've always said is that if it's a site that we use and it's a site we trust and we've got good kit from them before, then we'll happily mention it. And I've used them several times, Prepper Shop UK, and they're really good. Along the same with like goes for like Military Mart, Into the Wild. There's quite a few that I use regularly. So
like I've been buying quite a lot of these. Where are they? Oh, they're not on. I had a whole load of this is really embarrassing now. The MRE pouches and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, there's always flash sales on there for spare bits of kit. There we go.
If there's certain things that you like, so for example, these fruit explosions, Lance and I bought a load of these. They're 20 for £4. So if you like certain things from them, like they've got the roasted peanuts, they're 50p a sachet. I bought a load of the peanut butter recently. I haven't got any of that anymore, but yeah, they've got odd bits and pieces, and this is sort of fairly changing and stuff.
But it's always good to keep the coffers a little bit full up with some spare kit and that bits and bobs like that. That's always good. But that price for that BCV solid fuel burner, that's a wicked deal. That is. That's really good. Yeah, fair play.
Ray says, I've recommended these before, but that's a reason to use tranches. If you run out of liquid fuel for the burner, you can just use twigs and such in the wind guard and still be able to use all the pans.
Yeah, that's good shout, mate. Yeah. I did a little bit of a cook up over the woods the other day with the two kids, and I took my little twig stove, a little fold-out stove, and you literally just feed it with twigs, and it boiled. It took about 12, quarter of an hour at the most, but that was like 3 liters of cold water in a pan with 3 ration meals. So yeah, about 12-15 minutes for it to be boiling, and obviously the food to be ready. So, but I don't think that's a massive amount of time to have to wait. There's plenty of other bits you could be getting on with during that time. You know what I mean? Getting your brew kit ready, bombing up your mags. By the time you've done all those little jobs that you'd be doing afterwards, you'll be good to go. So all your admin squared away, and then your food's ready. So happy days.
Wayne says you can have a Mike patented murder bag to hand just in case.
I like it.
This is not a thing. I'm not going to start selling murder bags.
It needs to be like the M&M bag, Mike's murder bag, the M&M bag,
the MMB,
the MMBs. Fair play.
Oh, blimey. So in terms of that's obviously kind of fairly covered, sort of post-event, during the event. Pre-event and during the event. In terms of post-event, is there anything you do, Lance, to kind of get your kit sorted out? I mean, I'm not going to throw it to you straight away because I know you get upset with that. So
no, not at all. No, not at all. I'm happy. I'm happy to do that. I mean, yeah. So after the event, obviously, it's making sure any perishables and any sort of liquids, things like that, water bottles, camel bladders, is rinsed fully. I know you're going to get back and you're going to be knackered, but if you can just get in the right mindset of just thinking, right, there's sort of three sort of things that I'd make sure I've done as soon as I get back home, and that's all my water bottles, like my spork, my camelback, are either emptied and quickly rinsed and then just left to dry out, because I only ever fill them up with water, so I don't put detergents and that through them. So it's just a good slosh out with cold water, leave them up to hang up and dry out, and that's them taken care of. I'll make sure all the batteries are out of my radios and my guns, and any gas is discharged and things like that. I'll leave a little bit of gas in my pistol mags, and they're all put safely back in their LiPo sort of fireproof bag, ready to be charged up. Same with radio batteries, they get put in a box out of the way. Any gas cylinders that are in my bag, I'll take them out and they go in a box, kept in a nice cool dark place out of the way, because like I mentioned before, summertime, if you've got stuff kept in your loft, it's going to get very, very hot up there. So batteries, cans of gas, probably a good idea to box them up and bring them down, stick them out somewhere else in the shed in the garden or something where it's a bit cooler perhaps. And that's sort of like the main things I do. I mean, obviously my fatigues and my base layers, they'll just get chucked in the machine. And then after that, I mean, obviously the first, like I said, you just got back from the event, you're going to be pretty knackered, so you want to sort of get yourself squared away before you do anything else. But then obviously it's getting into the right mindset of getting all your kit squared away for the next one. Get your sleeping, don't leave your sleeping bag all scrunched up in the bottom of your burger. Get it out, hang it up in your loft, give it a good shake out, get the insulation so it's all fluffed up again, because it's just going to ruin it. The longer you leave a bag compressed, the worse it's going to, the insulation it's going to offer is going to decrease. So I've been told, and that's something I've always got into the habit of doing, is fluffing the bag out and leaving it to the last minute to get it packed. And your basic admin like that, just be sort of regimented with it. If you got that from there, put it back there. If this goes there, put it there. Do you know what I mean? Don't just fucking fling it in the cupboard then, because then when you come to pack next time, you're going to be like, oh god, here we go again. You're starting from the bottom.
Half a day sorting your stuff, don't you? Before you
sorting stuff, finding stuff. Some stuff can get damaged or where you've not put it away properly or in the right spot. So if you just get into the habit of, I've got this. I went to the pound shop and got about a dozen of these black sort of A3 size, if you like, base size of it, storage crates, stackable crates basically with a little lid, and I've got various rations in there. I've got main meals, desserts, snacks, drink powders and brew kits, and then I've got another one which has got all my comm stuff and batteries and then radios, and you can just label it, and then you can literally open your bag and say, right, that goes in there, blah, 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 blah. And you come to pack again, oh right, it's all in there, get it out, charge all this up, happy days. And that's it. It's just nice and simple. You haven't got to necessarily do it the first day you get back, but make sure you do it within a day or two of coming home. Get them other little secondary bits all squared away, and you're good to go then. And it'll be habit. Then you'll get into the habit of doing it.
It does make it ever so much easier when you're finding stuff as well. I mean, this is what I've spoken about this before, but the my little bag that I'm trying to sort of keep everything in means that I can just grab that next time.
He's back.
Unfortunately, it's empty at the moment because I had to use it at one of the Airsoft events. Well, actually, the last MilSim you were at, it was the weapons drop that someone was picking up. I needed something that looked vaguely kind of tactical and cool that we could do like the handover with. So I had to empty it out, and it was heart-wrenching to do because it took me so long to put this thing together.
Yeah, but more satisfying because you know where it all goes now, so you can just place it all back in there straight away.
Exactly.
No, it's cool, mate.
Fair, I bought more of these little snug pack things, so I'm hoping that I can actually get it even more organised. That's my plan.
Nice, that's good, man. That's good. Good shout.
But something I was going to mention was drying stuff as well. So tarps or anything like that. Whilst for the most part they might be dry, any little bits of moisture or whatever that get in that can obviously, on your bashes can breed mold or
absolutely
rot. So
it will do, yeah.
yeah, it's always worth trying to get those out if you can. No, I appreciate that. We don't all have garden space or sort of space in the house to do so, but if you can get those out and like properly, like make sure you take off as much moisture as possible, it just means that once stuff's dry, it packs away dry and it just lasts a bit longer as well.
Absolutely, that mate. I do. I mean, I'm lucky enough. I've got the garage, so if it is lashing hard with rain when I get home, at least I can whip the bashers out and stuff, or my bivvy bag or whatever, and just sling it up in the back of the garage in some sort of fashioned sort of hook sort of system. Just like you say, just to dry. Even if it takes a couple of days, at least it's got fresh air running through there. It's not going to start perishing and stuff like that, like you say. Yeah, and the same goes for your burger as well. Your bag, any stuff sacks, give them a good shake out.
Hats,
iPro hats. Make sure that's dipped in bleach if they're Mike Fraser's.
Oh my word, yeah, hats especially, hats and iPro, especially the straps of the iPro.
But even like when it comes down to, like you say, your iPro, give it all a bit of a clean and a buff up. Put your cat crap on there, reapply your fog off anti-fog cream, put all that on there and give it a clean up, a buff up, put them back in the case. There's a little task done then that you can do prior to your next event, and it's done then, good to go. Little bits and bobs like that. I haven't unpacked anything from last week.
Anything from last week. It's all still on the floor.
Good God, man. Honestly, they should be all spread out across that lovely new kitchen of yours now, Andy, getting labelled and put away. Mrs. would love that, I
bet. Private Atticus, appreciate the advice, Rage. Definitely go and look into the Leatherman as our first name that comes to mind for multi-tools.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. You won't go wrong. You won't go wrong with them.
Cool. I think that's pretty much, unless you've got anything else to cover, Lance.
Not particularly. No, I mean, quickly wanted to touch on, obviously, looking after your feet. Obviously, if you do start, because I suffered with it at that private event, and I was a fool. I should have changed my socks out, dried powdered my feet, and I didn't, and I absolutely suffered it. Not so much at the event, but just after it. I was in pain. It felt like I had about 1 million needles sticking into the bottom of my feet, where I had wet feet for like 14 hours straight. So they're smacked on my part. But yeah, just if you do get wet feet, make sure you got spare socks, the sealskin socks. Get your boots dry, powder your feet. Change your socks out when you can. Just obviously your self admin. Do you know what I mean? If you feel like it's going to start hurting, it's probably a good chance it's going to be really, really fucking hurting an hour's down the road. So sort of nip it in the bud now. Prevention's better than cure and all that business. So yeah, and obviously just on your first aid kit, your little personal first aid kit. If there's any specialist bits that you need, make sure you've got them all in there, and people are aware of it. Oh, there's one more actually. Emergency contacts as well. If you're, for example, me and Mike go to an event, obviously you've got your mobile phone if anything does happen, but a good idea, a good practice would be, obviously I'll give Mike an emergency contact for me to go in his phone, and he gets one for me, or goes in my phone, obviously his wife, my wife, or whatnot, or his brother, or anything, just in case. If my phone breaks, I've got no way of getting my contact numbers out. At least I've got one contact on Mike's phone. I can call the missus and say, look, I've lost my phone, or it's broken, but if you do need me, I'm on this number. Another little bit of admin that you can take care of, and it sort of mitigates that bit of people worrying, bit of health and safety there. So yeah, just something I was thinking about today. Probably worth doing.
That's a really good tip actually, because I've thought about this before, and I genuinely don't know anyone's number. Like if I lost my phone, and
this is it, yeah.
Say there's a power cut or something like that, and there's no way of getting on computers or anything like that. I have no way of ringing anyone. Some landlines obviously have different power sources and stuff. So, but if you've just got to borrow someone's mobile or something, it's a nightmare. Like, because who do you call? Like,
yeah, or even have a number, even have a few close contact numbers written down or something in a write in the rain pad or whatever it's got. If you've got some emergency contact numbers, just keep them on you. So if your phone is broken or you can't get to it, at least you've got them on you that you can make a call if you need to. That'll be one of the other little sort of preppy things I'd suggest for an event or any time really. So.
Yeah, I think the main thing as well is to learn from mistakes.
Oh, definitely, yeah, for sure.
I know the army are running the campaign at the moment that like you practice.
He's back now.
You practice, you fail, so that you don't practice or you don't fail when you're actually it matters and stuff. I think that's the general scope of the advert, but it's quite good advice, really. Like if you do have a problem, just look at it and go, right, what would have fixed that for the next time, or how can I stop that from happening, and then just plan for that. And
exactly that.
That's how a lot of the kit evolves and sort of builds up. So
yeah, that forever changing, really, like you said, yeah. Because when you'll get back off an event, you sort of analyse it, then you think, well, that sort of went a bit bad, or if I'd had that, then and not taken this, then maybe this would work better. And like I say, it's trial and error. You know what I mean? You're not looking it right all the time. But that's why it's good to you learn things in. Otherwise, it'd be boring if you got it right all the time. It'd be pretty dull. So it keeps you on your
What would be
toes.
biggest lesson that you think you've learnt for kit wise and stuff?
Probably got to say it would be the getting my feet saturated wet and not doing anything about it. That private event a few weeks back, and the first time I did a proper cold weather event where it was sort of like -6, -7. I learned a lot from that one. With regards to insulating properties, things you can do for yourself, like not going to bed on a cold stomach, like a minimum. If you're in that sort of climate and it's going to be freezing cold that night, for the minimum that I'd say was at least get a hot drink in you. If you can get a hot meal down you before you hit the DOS bag, or a hot drink, then I'd say yeah, because it just adds to the comfort. It just helps. But yeah, like I said, it was the first. I've worked for years. I've worked in -10, -11 out on the railway, all weathers, but I've never actually stayed there all night, got up the next morning and had to deal with that out in the field with not being indoors. So it was the first time I'd ever been out in them sort of temperatures and had to sort of suck it up, buttercup, and deal with it. And I did. I stayed out there and I got relatively warm to an extent towards the end of that night, if you like. But there was things I could have done a lot better, which I've learned from since then. And obviously the Octo 8 event, which we've done previously, was -6 at night, and I was lovely and toasty, just asleep with a t-shirt and underpants and my socks. So, what does that show you? It was how I've come from nearly freezing my nuts off wearing a full softy suit at one point, trying to get hot drinks and stuff down me, and in not inadequate kit, but just being a bit naive to bits and bobs, I suppose, to then sort of flourishing at the next event I went to that was cold weather. But yeah, that there, and obviously just having that wet feet, that killed me, man. That absolutely killed me. What about you, mate?
Mine's batteries, to be honest with you. So the stoners run off the main battery that runs the gun, and then the magazine has its own separate 9-volt battery. And it's just always good to just have spare batteries, basically. Because I had a 2-hour walk to go and pick up the battery and then get back into the field again. And I was like, oh. So,
man.
That's that.
Was that NAE, was it?
That was NAE, yeah. We'd literally...
2-hour walk sounds like NAE.
Well, it was an hour, yeah. So it was an hour walk from pretty much where our camp was to get into the game zone. And then we were there and we were like, oh, yeah, it's going to start. It's amazing. Went to fire the gun, didn't fire anything at all. I was like, oh, no. So I had to wait for the start and then just casually walk back out of the game zone, all the way out, all the way back. I was just like, oh, it's so upsetting. So, yeah.
Well, lesson learned there.
Yeah. Right, last few questions or comments. So Rage says write them and put you in the first aid kit. So that's obviously contact details and stuff.
Yep, it's a good shout, mate.
Good shout. Private Atticus says I keep a little laminated card in my wallet with numbers. Yeah, highly recommending if you can laminate paperwork, anything important like that, it's quite useful.
Yeah, perhaps not have your wallet on you though at an event. I'd keep that sort of secure somewhere else, maybe.
Having said that, having a little bit of money on you, depending on the style of event, could be.
I suppose, useful. For bartering or something.
Yeah, well, no. Again, using NAE as an example, which is the National Airsoft event, where you do have to, you walk from your campsite to kind of the start of the game zone, and then you've got the game zone. On your way back to the campsite, there's like a whole load of like food stalls and stuff like the entrance, like where the main festival bit is. So it's always quite nice if you want to take stuff back from there to your tent. You don't want to have to go to your tent to get money to then come back, buy what you want, and then go back in. So if you're at an event where you might need cash at any point, it's worth doing.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I like one of them 90s plastic around the neck. You just keep me changing.
Remember that? I was just suggesting like a little carrier bag, or not a carrier bag, like a little plastic bag or whatever. A lot of money's either waterproof or metal now anyway. So
exactly.
But like the little sort of secret admin pouches and stuff like that you can all sort of zip up and things. That's quite useful to keep stuff in.
Nice. He's back now.
It must be something to do with the software on my internet connection. Private Atticus says, I can remember my house phone number from when I was about 8 years old, but can't for the life of me tell you my house phone number at 42. Although, to be fair, I've only lived here for a decade. Yeah,
I can tell you what mine is. Not a clue.
Yeah.
I can even remember my nan and granddad's phone number from back in the day.
Oh, it's because it drums into you, and then you get to a point you don't need it. It's just like, house.
That's it.
Yeah. Andy Bob says that's where the Titan 7,000 milliamp batteries are handy. 2 days worth of power. And yep, completely agree. But
agree.
if you
It's
run out the little
remembering
9-volt
the initial battery is the hard bit.
Rage says bum bag. Bet you have a bum bag, Lance.
Oh, bum bag. Now you're talking. I want a black leather one with shiny chrome shiny chrome zippers. Yeah, I don't own a bum bag actually. What are you saying? But I'll consider it. The wife bought one the other day for dog walking to keep the poo bags and treats in. I was like,
I read that as Rage calling you a bum bag, and then bum bag. Bet you have a bum bag, Lance.
So is that my nickname from Rage now? He's going to start calling me bum bag. That's charming.
Better than salad.
I quite like salad.
I don't know if it is better than salad. I think salad's probably better. Yeah. Cool.
Oi, bum bag. That's horrid.
Private Atticus says transferring the card to first aid pouch at an event, as Rage said, would be good. Cool. Yeah. Do it. Nice one. Well, I think that's all for us this week. Next week, I've forgotten what we're going to talk about. What are we talking about next week, Lance?
Next week, we are talking about wet weather kit, keeping yourself
yes.
wet weather kit and doing sort of do's and don'ts with when it comes to rain. Cool. Bloody rain. Hate rain. Rain's crap. Apart from the allotment. Saves me water in the allotment plot. There we go.
Yeah.
Rain's crap at Airsoft.
That little event we went to in Dormansland.
Oh, mate.
Dormansland, however you pronounce it. And literally we were like, oh, yeah, it's great. And camping out and it just started to tip it down.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Not fun. Yeah. But we ploughed on.
Yeah.
Carried on regardless.
When
the
kit
survived. That's it, mate. Exactly that. Yeah. So that's a good example to use for next week, I think. So, yeah, wet weather kit and bits and bobs you can do to remain dry.
Andy says, link your box mag into the Titan battery. Easy to do. Both gun and box mag for 2 days at a time. Yeah, it's not a bad shout. I need to look at that. Oh, by the way, if anyone's got an M249 on here, I don't know if we've discussed this before, like an S&T one, even better, because I can't find for my life of me a battery that fits in the back of it. I've actually bought a Titan little block cell battery, and I can't get that thing to go in. So
your battery for that then, the power version, goes under the front heat shield, is it? In between like the outer.
It's designed to go between the gearbox and the back of where the stock mounts on. But it's such a tiny little gap. This thing does not fit in there properly. And then once it's all closed, there's just not enough space. So yeah, I think I might have to get a Dremel. I just don't want to start cutting bits out of it. It just feels sacrilegious.
Cheers, Mark. All the best, mate. Get that kit squared away. Counting on you, bud.
So whilst just last couple points, patches. I had the patches on me at the last event, and forgot to give anybody any. So if you'd like some patches, please do get in touch. I don't know if I did see John Minshaw was in the chat earlier. I don't know if he still is. I've been trying to get in touch with you, bud, because I haven't got your address. I have sent you a couple of emails, but if you could get in touch with your address, I can get your patch sent out. And if anybody else wants any patches, then yeah, please do just pay us through PayPal. All the details are on our Facebook and Instagram. There's a little image on those, and we can get those sorted out for you as well. So,
good play.
Nice
all good in the hood.
Right. Well, we'll see you all next week. I hope Wednesday hasn't been too bad, by the way. Like, it seems to be, quite active still.
Wednesday's good for me.
Yeah, Wednesday's good for me as well.
Love a Wednesday. That's all good. So we did discuss it, and that we think lockdown's lifting. Friday night, 8:00. Everyone's going to want to be going out. They're going to be going away for weekends and stuff like that. So we thought, well, we don't want to stop doing it because we've also got plans and families and things like that. So we thought, right, middle of the week, Wednesday, 8, everyone's chilling, lovely jubbly. So hopefully that's all right with you guys. And if it's not, it's tough shit. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's good.
Nice one. Right. Well, we'll see you all next week.
Yes.
Say goodbye, Lance.
Goodbye, Lance.
See you later.
Take care.